one of the most blessed places in Islam, subhanallah. And you can see these are the names of the Ashab al-Badr. These are the Shuhada of Badr. These are the martyrs of Islam, the very first martyrs from the battles of Islam. And you can see here in Arabic it says Asma Shuhada, Ghazwat al-Badr. So these are the names of the martyrs from the battle of Badr. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says in the Quran, وَلَقَدْ نَصَرَكُمُ اللَّهُ بِبَدْرٍ وَأَنْتُمْ أَذِلَّةٌ فَاتَّقُوا اللَّهَ لَعَلَّكُمْ تَشْكُرُونَ. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, this is the place where Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala sent down His angels of mercy and of assistance. 5,000 angels came down in the battle of Badr to assist the Muslims. This was a night when, subhanallah, the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, the night before the battle took place, while the Sahaba, the companions were sleeping, the Holy Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam stayed awake in sujood. And he sallallahu alaihi wasallam was begging Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala for His mercy. You can hear the azan of Salatul Asr now. And mashallah, and these are the names which are mentioned in Sahih Bukhari, that if any was to mention the people of Badr in his dua, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will not reject his dua. So you can see Amir ibn Abi Waqas, Safwan bin Wahab, Zushamaleen bin Abdul Amr. Sorry, there's a lot of noise because of the azan, obviously, but you can see the names. And this is the actual place where the battle took place. Now there is a place called the Masjid al-Arish. This is where the Prophet ﷺ had set up his tent and a command center the night before the battle. The battle took place on the 17th of Ramadan, and it was the first battle of Islam, and 14 martyrs in Islam, 14 of the Sahaba Kiram, the companions of the Prophet ﷺ, were martyred. But you can see it's a very, very big graveyard. It's 1400 years old. And as you can see, the mountain at the back there, that is connected to Jabal Malaika, where the actual angels came down. This is the place, subhanallah. And this place, anybody comes here and makes dua and says to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and this isn't written in the books of the scholars, the elders, and also there's a lot of backing from the hadith and also obviously from the Quran, that, oh Allah, you assisted the people of Badr, Ya Allah, when they were outnumbered. Ya Rabbil Alameen, we are weak, but we are believers. O merciful Allah, grant us complete shifa. Ya Allah, grant us ease. O merciful Allah, grant us afiyah. And this is the graveyard of the Shuhada of Badr, the martyrs of Badr. Now, one of the most interesting stories regarding this as well is that and this narration is narrated by Abdurrahman ibn Auf radiallahu ta'ala, and he was one of the companions that the Prophet promised Jannah. And these are known as the Ashara Mubashara. There are 10 people who are still alive, and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala guaranteed them Jannah. The Ashara Mubashara, the 10 who were guaranteed Jannatul Firdaus, who were guaranteed Jannah by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, even though they were still alive. And amongst them, one of them was Abdurrahman ibn Rauf radiallahu ta'ala. And he narrates, and you'll find this story in the hadith. And he says, I was standing in the row on the battlefield of Badr. I looked to my right, and I can't contain myself. Wallahi, whenever I narrate the story, whenever I think about what took place on this night and on this day, I swear by Allah, my heart cries, my soul cries. My eyes don't do justice to the real crying in my heart. The tears that come out from my eyes, wallahi, they don't do justice to the wave that my heart and my soul cry. And I wish I would have been here on that day when the Prophet ﷺ was victorious, and not for the victory, but to be a support for the Prophet ﷺ. What would have been going through his blessed mind? How his mind would have been? What difficulty would he have been thinking what's going to happen to us? Yes, he had faith in Allah. Yes, he had conviction with Allah. But he was a human being as well. And there was always that worry inside the heart of the Prophet ﷺ. That's why the Prophet ﷺ said to Allah, oh Allah, if we are not victorious tonight, then Ya Allah, there will be nobody in this dunya to worship you, Ya Allah. Grant us victory on that day, Ya Rabbil Alameen, tomorrow, meaning day of Badr, which was tomorrow, because this was happening in the night of the 16th day of Ramadan and the night. which, because in Islam night comes first, it was the 17th night of Ramadan. And you can see Jabal Malaika, you can see the graveyard here, and how many of Allah's most beloved and the most beloved of the Prophet ﷺ are buried here. You can name any Sahaba, any companion, each one is a star on his own, each one is a gem, each one is a diamond, each one has its own status. But subhanallah, the martyrs of Badr, wallahi, Bukhari Sharif, Sahih Bukhari, you mention them to Allah and Allah will never reject your dua. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala grant us these. Two boys from the Ansar, they were not even baligh, they were young teenagers. They said to the Prophet sallallahu, "O Prophet of Allah, we heard that you're going to fight Abu Jahl." Prophet sallallahu said, "Yes." They said, "We're coming with you." Prophet sallallahu said, "No, you're too young, you can't." They hid and they came along to the Battle of Badr. They went up to Abdurrahman ibn Auf, radiallahu ta'ala, and he was standing on the battlefield. And they said to him, "Oh, Abdurrahman, uncle." In fact, they said, "Oh, uncle." This was the subhanallah, this was the akhlaq, the character of the companions of Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam and the people of the Ansar, where Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala guided the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam to Ansar, to Medina. This is, you can tell the quality of the people of Medina, subhanallah. So they asked Abdurrahman ibn Auf radiallahu ta'ala, "Oh, uncle, do you know Abu Jahl?" He said, "Yes." Now, Abu Jahl was like the Fir'aun of the time of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. He was known as Abu Jahl, the father of ignorance, the father of Jahiliyyah. And his name is actually not Abu Jahl. This is what he's known as, right? And he was a prominent head of the Makhzum clan. And Amr was known as Abu al-Hakam, father of the wise. This is what he was known as. And he was a very, 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 very prominent person there. Now, going back to the story, because I'm mixing things for you and I don't want to confuse you. Anyway, so the young boys asked Abdurrahman ibn Auf, "Who is Abu Jahl?" They don't even know who he is. So Abdurrahman ibn Auf asked the boys, "Why do you want to know?" So we heard that he's insulted the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Subhanallah, just imagine two boys, barely teenagers, as they're saying, "We're going to destroy him, the head of the Makkah." Subhanallah, they're going to destroy him. Can you believe that? So he's pointed out, Abdurrahman ibn Auf pointed out Abu Jahl. And they said, "Right, this is it, we're going to deal with him." So while Abu Jahl was walking, Abdurrahman ibn Auf pointed him out to the boys. So both of the boys hid behind a stone. And suddenly they saw him come closer. And he was going towards the Prophet. The two boys went towards him. And they looked at him. And he was very, very tall because he was on the top of a horse. And these are two children. And they froze because they never fought anybody before. And here they're standing in front of Abu Jahl. So one of the companions came and he struck the horse of Abu Jahl. And he literally chopped his legs off, subhanallah, of the horse. And the boys saw that Abu Jahl is falling down. So they quickly went towards him with their swords. And subhanallah, Abu Jahl saw that there's no way back because they already hit him. They struck him with the sword. And now they're going to chop his head off. Abu Jahl, the ignorance that he had, the pride that he had, he said to the boy, he said, "Listen, you're going to chop my head off. Don't chop it at the top part near my chin. Chop it closest to my shoulders. So when you hang my head somewhere, when you stand my head somewhere, my head will be the highest." Subhanallah, this was the pride that he had in him. Anyway, so they struck him and they killed him, subhanallah. And they destroyed the biggest enemy, the Fir'aun of the time of the Prophet ﷺ, and they were barely teenagers. This is a love and devotion and dedication they had to the Prophet ﷺ. One of the boys, after coming back from there, not from the war, but after defeating Abu Jahl, they were going to the Prophet ﷺ, and one of them got hit by a sword and he got struck and his hand was hanging off. He put his foot on his hand and ripped it off. Wallahi, this is true. You can read in the book of Hadith and the books of history. He ripped his hand off because it was dangling, and he continued the fight. And then they went to the Prophet ﷺ, and they asked the Prophet, and they explained, "O Prophet of Allah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, that who insulted you, today we have taken him off this dunya." Subhanallah. Wallahi, look at the situation in Palestine and look at the situation that was in the Battle of Badr. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala sent down the angels. The sky burst open. 5,000 angels, white, on horseback, with turbans, white turbans, swords, lances in their hands, subhanallah. And they came down, and the Muslims victorious. The story is long, and there's many, many, many stories relating to the Battle of Badr. But this was in short, subhanallah. One of the children was martyred in this battle as well. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala grant them all Jannah. This is one of the most blessed people, one of the most blessed places in Islam. I don't know if you say, okay, there are three harams. We have the Makkah, we have Medina, we have Al-Aqsa. But when you look at the places where no other place Allah's angels came down to this degree and level, even the Battle of Uhud, where, you know, the stories of Uhud are something amazing as well. Inshallah, I'll relate that to you at another time. But here you can see that we are at Badr, and subhanallah, one of the most gracious places. And inshallah, I will try to take some pictures and show you the Masjid Arish. Masjid Arish, now they have constructed a masjid where the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam had his camp, command center and control center, and he spent the entire night in sajda and in begging Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, while the Sahaba slept, while the companions slept. And there you can see here Shuhada Street, the street of the martyrs. Subhanallah, what a befitting name, street of the martyrs. Subhanallah. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala grant us ease and afiyah. O merciful Creator, merciful Allah, as per the hadith of Sahih Bukhari, as per the love of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam for the martyrs of Badr, as for your love, Ya Rabbil Alameen, for the martyrs of Badr, we ask that, Ya Rabbil Alameen, every listener, every Muslim, Palestine, Ugair, wherever the Muslims are, Rohingyans, Indians, wherever, Ya Rabbil Alameen, you grant them shifa, O merciful Creator. You heal them, you protect them, you bless them, Ya Allah. You destroy, dishonor, disgrace the Zionists, their friends, their helpers, their supporters, direct and indirect, Ya Rabbil Alameen. O merciful Allah, we beg that you grant us your special mercy. You remove our issues and afflictions, Ya Allah. Every listener, everybody who's watching now and who will watch later, Ya Rabbil Alameen, we ask that you make us from amongst those who will be healed, Ya Allah. Ya Allah, those who are struggling with job issues, Ya Allah, grant them halal rizq. Those who are struggling with health issues, Ya Allah, grant them complete shifa. Those who are struggling with money issues, Ya Allah, grant them halal rizq in abundance. Ya Allah, those who are unmarried, grant them pious spouses, Ya Rabbil Alameen. Those who don't have children, grant them pious and healthy children, Ya Allah. Those who have been blessed with children, make our children the coolness of our eyes, the better futures of tomorrow. The Imams of the Holy Haramain al-Sharifain, Ya Rabbil Alameen. O merciful Creator, O merciful Allah, we beg for your mercy. We ask for ease, we ask for afiyah, Ya Rabbil Alameen. O most gracious, most merciful Allah, whatever difficulties we have, whether it's jinn, whether it's magic, whether it's evil eye, whether it's sickness, illness, disease, Ya Rabbil Alameen, grant us complete shifa. Grant shifa to our parents and our children. Grant shifa to our spouses, Ya Allah, to our siblings, to our neighbors, to our friends, to our relatives, Ya Rabbil Alameen. Everyone who asked us to make dua for them, Ya Allah. Ya Allah, grant them ease and afiyah. Remove the afflictions, O merciful Creator, through the barakah of this blessed place and your mercy, Ya Allah. Ya Allah, Ya Rabbil Alameen, you are not muhtaj of Badr. You are not muhtaj of Medina. You are not muhtaj of Makkah. You are not muhtaj of anything, Ya Rabbil Alameen. Ya Allah, you can accept du'as just like that. Ya Allah, accept our du'as, O merciful Allah. Ya Rabbil Alameen, we ask for your mercy. We ask for ease. We ask for afiyah. Ya Allah, grant us that which you have asked for. Grant us that which you haven't asked for, which you wanted to, which you needed to, which you couldn't. Whatever our reasons, Ya Allah. Grant us everything, Ya Rabbil Alameen, of khair in this dunya and in the akhirah. ربنا آتنا في الدنيا حسنة وفي الآخرة حسنة وقنا عذاب النار. O merciful Allah, grant complete shifa to every listener, Ya Allah. Ease their difficulties, whatever their difficulties, Ya Allah. Whether it's physical, spiritual, emotional, mental, it's to do with dunya, it's to do with akhir, Ya Allah. Forgive those who have left this dunya and have reached your mercy, Ya Allah, like my beloved parents, Ya Allah. Ya Rabbil Alameen, every family member of mine, Ya Allah, grant them your special mercy, Ya Allah. And every listener, Ya Rabbil Alameen, they are also my family members, Ya Allah. Grant them your special mercy. Remove our issues and afflictions, Ya Rabbil Alameen. Brothers and sisters, may Allah's peace and blessings be upon you. Inshallah, if Allah gives me life and health, I will see you again tonight from Makkah, hopefully, inshallah, in front of the Holy Kaaba. I don't want to take too many more live because I think we're only allowed 3 live sessions in 24 hours. I've done 2 already, so this is my second one. So I want to leave that one for tonight, inshallah, from the Holy Kaaba, inshallah, if Allah gives me life and health. Please take care of yourselves and each other. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. I'll be praying for you here as well privately, inshallah, and I ask you to pray for me as well. Please take care of yourself. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah.